Hey everyone, my name is Faina and this is Bookish Paradise. Today, we are going head to head in the battle of cover versus cover. There have been many debates about which cover looks better on a certain book, and I am here to rest that case. And of course, this will be highly opinionated because I will be putting in my 2 cents on what I think looks better. But I'm not the only one who is gonna give their insights on which cover they prefer. Every Thursday, I like to post a this versus that game challenge on my story where people put in their insights, and for example, that'll be like a autumn edition. Do you like to drink pumpkin spice lattes or apple cider? Recently, I decided, why not do a this versus that with book covers? Many books are released in different countries with different book covers. Sometimes it's not dependent on the country, but it's just an alternate cover that was released. Besides my input and my opinion on what cover looks better, I have the input and the opinions of my Bookstagram friends. The first book we're gonna look at is Shadow and Bone. We are looking at the US edition versus the UK edition. So let's start off by saying I haven't read this book yet, and I know many covers are based on the material and the plot of the book, so I can't really say much towards that. However, I will say I do prefer the color scheme of the US edition versus the UK edition. However, US edition, you guys lose points for putting that Netflix little logo on the bottom of your cover. And yes, when I bought the series, I bought the boxed edition, and yes, it does have that Netflix little, come on, focus, that little Netflix thing on the bottom. And I really hate it because it's not an actual sticker that you can take off. No, it's printed on the cover. As I said, I haven't read this book. I would prefer, and I think my initial choice was the US edition. Like I said, I do prefer the color scheme of it, and I do like the deer that's on the cover. I'm literally sitting here looking at both the covers, and I really did think I was gonna go with the US edition, but the UK edition, they took like the antlers of the deer and they intertwined it with like these wisps of black smoke. And then I'm assuming there's some kind of significance with the building that is on the cover. Again, I didn't read the book, and when I saw the Shadow and Bone US edition cover, I thought that the deer would have a lot of significance to it, so I was gonna go with that and the color scheme. But now that I see those antlers in the UK edition, this is very difficult for me. As of now, I think I'm gonna go with the US edition, and once I read the book, I guess we'll see which one I'll choose once I know what the book is about. Now let's look at what all the books to friends have chosen. Clearly, the UK edition knocked this out of the park. They got 65% of votes for that edition versus the US edition, which is at 35%. When I first saw those results, I was like, how can you choose the UK over the US edition? But I feel like there's a deeper meaning with the cover of the UK edition, so I guess we'll see. Moving on, we have Incendiary. I want to give a shout out to the author because she is from Queens, New York, and that's where I'm from. And actually the book I had bought was from our local bookstore, and she was there doing a signing. Unfortunately, I did not go to that book signing. However, they did leave aside a couple of the books that have been signed by the author, and I was able to go and purchase one. I was beyond thrilled because she had written my name on the top, and she wrote "Be a Rebel" and signed it. And honestly, like, it just warmed my heart to know that there are authors around my hometown, and it kind of gives me a little bit of like motivation to go after my dreams. All right, we're not here to be all sappy. This is a tournament of book covers. So the original cover has a blue background. We have this wisps of fire all around. We have some kind of building in the front, and we do have this girl being lifted in the air. I have read this book, so I do understand the cover. However, I know a lot of people, including myself, sometimes prefer books that don't have characters or people on the cover. That's not all the time. In this case, it might be. Then we have the alternate version. You have a red cover, and you just have this gorgeous detailed artwork on the cover, and it's like, it has the flowers there, it has those beautiful wisps of vines, and the crown that's there along with the jewel. So I have the original book cover, so I have that book, And I do have a different version that's not here, but very similar to the alternate cover. It's this Fairy Loot edition I have. And the only difference is that it's a black cover versus a red cover. And I'll be honest, if I had put this as one of the alternate covers, I probably would have chosen this instantly. I do prefer this over both the options that we have. I really want to choose the alternate cover as my option, but there's something that pulls me towards the blue cover, the original cover. I feel like if you put them side by side, I would be pulled towards that one because I'm questioning, why is she floating in the air? What's with the fire? I think I'm gonna go with that option. I'm gonna choose the original one. Let's see the stats of what other people think. Clearly, people had chosen the alternate cover. It's at 62%, while the original was 38%. I definitely see where they're coming from. The second book cover, the alternate, does look beautiful, but in my opinion, I would choose the original cover. The next covers that we have going head to head is Caraval. I'll be honest, this is a very tough one because we have the UK versus US edition. Both are quite similar in the concept of the cover. However, we have different color schemes. The color scheme of the UK edition is this black and gold color, and it's very beautiful. It's very simple, but it makes a statement. The US edition has like a dark blue cover and it has like wisps of red, lighter blue. It does stand out a little more, and I do prefer the font of the US version versus the UK version. This is a very tough one for me because both of these are pretty much neck and neck when it comes to choosing my favorite cover. I read this book before and I know that it has like that air of mystery around it, this kind of luring sensation. I just want to say that the US edition kind of has that effect on me where it's like, oh, I'm leaning towards that one without even looking at the other cover. So my personal choice would be the US edition. Going off of what others have said, 54% of voters voted for UK edition, while 46% voted for the US edition. It was very close, and honestly, I was very close to choosing the UK edition because I love the colors of gold and black together. However, I will choose the US edition. With this next book, I really have a bone to pick with it. It is none other than A Court of Thorns and Roses. I would say only recently did they release these alternate book covers. When I first heard the news that they are going to be doing that, I was so excited because I was like, okay, they can go so many different routes in designing the book covers. And then they hit us with these designs that honestly I didn't find much sentiment behind it. Like, I don't know much about why they chose that simplistic design like they did. Maybe each one has its own explanation, but if you just look at A Court of Thorns and Roses alone, I'm trying to figure out what that image is. I'm trying to assume that it's maybe a wolf. Kind of looks like a tiger, but maybe it's a wolf to represent Tamlin and his ability to transform into a wolf. I don't know, but I'm going to go out and say that I will always choose the original over this alternate cover. And yes, I feel like maybe there could be something a little better than the original covers. However, I do like that they include like the tattoos of all the characters there and the different outfits throughout the books. They really speak to me about these characters. Without a doubt, as you could see, 73% chose the original cover while 27% chose the alternate. And honestly, I will be agreeing with them because I will be choosing the original as my option. Next up, we have Cirque. We have the US edition versus the UK edition. I personally own the US edition of the book, obviously because I live in the US. However, if you look at the design of both the books, the US edition has, I'm assuming, the character of Cirque there, while the UK edition just radiates beauty through all the different flowers that they have and all of the different colors. And mind you, the color scheme between the US edition and the UK edition are exactly the same. We have blacks, whites, and oranges that are played throughout. However, the UK edition is just more complex, and I think without a doubt I would choose that. And clearly people agree because 96% of voters chose the UK edition and only 4% chose the US edition. Clearly, that's the winner. We're now head to head with Shadow of the Fox. I personally haven't read this yet. However, both covers have caught my attention. The US edition has a black cover. We have red. We see some architecture in the background. We have the stunning mask that's clearly a fox. And then we have the UK edition that has a very vibrant bluish green color in the back, which I'm really digging because it has a great contrast with the red of the flowers and the yellow and the white. This is a tough one. I haven't read the books, so I don't know what's more significant. I think I would choose the US edition because A, the word fox is in the title and we have a mask of a fox. And B, the design of the mask isn't like one of the softer and more delicate foxes that you can see masks of, but it's more, you see a lot of angles there. It's very sharp. It's like, it looks like it's made out of metal. I don't know, it's very enticing. The UK edition is a bit softer, and of the two, I think I would choose the US edition. However, the voters did choose 68% for the UK edition and only 32% for the US edition. We are putting Nevernight into the ring next. Nevernight is one of those books that I put on my TBR list maybe like 2 years ago or whenever I found out about it. I know Jay Kristoff is a wonderful author, so let's see what we have in terms of the book cover. The US edition has an individual standing there, and you see wings that are portrayed by shadows in the background. Very intricate, I really like it. However, we have the UK edition where it's of a raven, and you can see a lot of details that go into the raven. You see a cat there, I believe you see hands, swords, etc. There's a lot going on that's hidden in the crow, in that raven. Since I didn't read the book, I'm assuming the bird does have significant meaning because number one, the UK edition just has the bird, and secondly, maybe the wings in the US edition portray that bird as well. All in all, I'm really attracted to the UK edition, and I think that's going to be my vote. The voters agree with me, and I would say 80% have voted for the UK edition and 20% voted for the US edition. We are moving on to Heartless. I'm gonna start off by saying I love both of these book covers, and if I'm gonna be buying these books, I will be buying both versions because they're both quite stunning. The US edition has a black cover and we have red vines around there, a red crown. The writing is in white and the T is a sword, which is very cool. We follow the same color scheme with the UK edition where we have a white background. We have black and red vines everywhere. The word Heartless is in red and it's an upside down heart. And we have this woman with red hair, red lips, and a red crown. This is very tough. I think I'm going to choose the book cover based on what I would personally like to see on my bookshelves. And let's just say, yes, I do have black bookshelves, and a no-brainer, the white book, the UK edition, would look better. It would stand out more. However, I do plan on buying white bookshelves. And yeah, the UK edition would still stick out. My preference in books are darker colors and ones that have great contrast, like the US edition where it's black and we have the reds and the whites. So my vote is for the US edition, and 60% of voters agree with me with the US edition and 40% chose the UK edition. Again, I do prefer that one. If I had a choice of only buying one book, I would choose the US edition. However, in this world, I would just choose two. The more the merrier. We are now going head to head with The Night Circus. Once again, I do enjoy that both versions of this book cover kind of keep the same color scheme and keep the same theme, but just different versions of it. With the US edition, we see two people, a man and a woman, glancing at each other, and in the center you have, I'm assuming, the Night Circus. In the UK edition, if you notice, we have the same exact image from the US edition, but blown up into a bigger image on the palm of someone's hand. I do love the concept of having that Night Circus in the palm of your hand, but I do love the incorporation of the individuals, the characters on the book cover, and it's just like their silhouettes. It's a little tough for me to choose, but it might be down to the minor details. Like for example, in the UK edition, I do like the idea that they were coming up with. However, it kind of looks like the little circus was photoshopped onto a hand, and that's like the most minor details, and it's still a very beautiful book cover, but I think I'm gonna go with the US edition on this one. Looking at what the voters had voted for, 58% voted for the US edition and 42% voted for the UK edition. We are down to the final battle of cover versus cover. The last book is And I Darken. This is one of the few books that I have not read, but both covers are so different and I'm having a hard time choosing my favorite. The US edition has a black cover with, wow, like this gorgeous purple lilac, I guess flower petals, and you have this blade that's like resting in the center. It looks like it was dropped on a flower and the petals just, fell off. The UK edition is, I'm assuming, one of the characters from the book. Her gaze is like, you better pick me up and read me right now. And I'm all for it. The costume, the makeup, it's just breathtaking. It really is neck and neck for me. I don't know which one to choose. I think, again, I would choose to buy both of these book covers to have in my shelves because they're both unique in their own way. Like I said, I don't really enjoy seeing characters or people on the covers of books because it gives you like this predetermined illustration of the character when, you kind of want to think of that yourself using just the words the author wrote. But this is one of those rare occurrences where I would make an exception to this cover, which is the UK edition, and I actually would love to see that on my shelves. But I would say maybe 51% of me is leaning towards the US edition because the colors are so vibrant. It's like jumping out at you and really makes you want to read it. And as you can see, 79% of voters did choose the US edition and 21% chose the UK edition. Again, I just want to remind you guys, this is highly opinionated. This is just based on my tastes in books and book covers, the tastes of others, like all the voters who voted on the stories. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion. And honestly, I want to hear what you guys think. Leave a comment down below and I want to see what covers you guys would choose. If you guys enjoy playing those this versus that games, you can stay tuned on my Bookstagram stories every Thursday where I do a this versus that, any edition, food edition, summer edition, fall edition, beverage edition, book edition, the list goes on. If you guys are interested in what Bookstagram is, why I created one, and maybe if you should create an account as well, click on this video right here to find out more. If you guys want to see more this versus that videos, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for joining me in my small corner of bookish paradise.